Every man wants a woman's respect. Few ever earn it. And it's not because they aren't good enough. It's because they let the wrong things slide. They allow tiny cracks in their standards until one day there's nothing left to respect. The truth is, the second she feels she can cross your boundaries without consequence, she stops seeing you as a man she was drawn to. But when you set the right boundaries, firm, unshakable, and unapologetic, everything changes. Here are 7 boundaries that will make her respect you, starting today. Boundary number 1, never ignore disrespect. A woman doesn't lose respect for you in one explosive moment. It happens in small, almost invisible exchanges. The little moments you excuse, laugh off, or pretend didn't matter. It's the sarcastic comment in front of her friends, the joke that paints you as weak, the subtle way she interrupts you when you're making a point, or the shift in her tone when she's irritated, designed to see if you'll flinch. These moments aren't accidents. Even if she doesn't consciously realize it, she's testing something primal, your willingness to protect your self-respect. Most men don't understand that when she tests you, she's not always being cruel. She's trying to find your edges. She wants to know if you're grounded enough to hold your line when the pressure is on. The moment you let it slide, she gets her answer. She may still smile, kiss you goodnight, and even say she loves you, but something deep inside has shifted. The respect meter has dropped, and once it does, it's nearly impossible to restore without a major reset. Disrespect comes in many forms. It could be dismissing your ideas without listening, talking about her ex in a way designed to provoke you, flirting with other men and calling you insecure when you address it, giving you the silent treatment instead of mature communication, or making decisions that affect you without consulting you. Every time you ignore these moments, you train her and yourself to accept less than you deserve. The solution is simple, but not easy. Correct it once, clearly, calmly, and without emotion. That might sound like, "Don't speak to me that way again," or, "If it happens again, I'm done," or, "That's not how I allow people to treat me." And here's the critical part. You don't repeat yourself. You don't raise your voice. And you don't try to over-explain your feelings. You set the standard once, and if she crosses it again, you act. If that means leaving the conversation, the house, or even the relationship, you do it without drama. No rage, no games, just consequence. 2 things will happen when you do this. She will either level up, because respect will return when she sees your boundaries are real, or she will leave, because she realizes she cannot control you. Both outcomes are victories. Keeping someone who disrespects you isn't love. It's slow self-destruction. When you stop tolerating disrespect from her, you also stop tolerating it from the world. Your friends, your boss, your family, everyone will treat you according to the standard you set. You begin to build a life where only those who respect you can enter. That's not arrogance, that's survival. And until you live by it, you'll never truly understand how much energy, confidence, and peace you've been leaking by letting things slide. Boundary number 2, guard your peace. Your peace is not something you stumble upon by luck. It's not an accident, and it's not a gift that someone else can hand to you. Peace is something you defend with the same seriousness as your own survival, because it is survival. Without peace, every decision you make becomes reactive instead of deliberate. You're constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, each demand and distraction chipping away at your mental clarity. You live on the defense, fighting off problems as they come, instead of moving with purpose toward what you want. This is why so many men feel drained, anxious, and unfulfilled, because they have given away open access to their time, their focus, and their energy without realizing it. A man who doesn't guard his peace lives in a constant state of low-level chaos. He wakes up already behind. He spends his day answering every message instantly, tolerating every interruption, explaining himself to people who have no right to judge him, and saying yes to obligations that don't serve him. He's not leading his life. He's reacting to it. And that kind of man is easy to manipulate. Women sense it immediately. They can tell when your attention is scattered, when your schedule bends around their moods, and when your space has no discipline. They might not say it out loud, but on an instinctive level, they lose respect for you. Because if you can't lead your own life, you can't lead in a relationship. Guarding your peace means becoming unavailable to chaos, not because you're running from it, but because you're building something too valuable to let it be disturbed. It's the conscious decision to filter every part of your life, your phone, your habits, your conversations, your environment, and ask, does this protect my peace or poison it? If it poisons it, it's gone. Not after a third chance, not after an explanation, immediately. The world will try to convince you that saying no makes you selfish, arrogant, or cold. But the truth is, saying yes to the wrong things is the fastest way to destroy yourself. When you protect your peace, you start moving differently. You no longer rush to respond just to prove you care. You stop arguing with people who thrive on drama. You refuse to let toxic energy live rent-free in your head. You keep your space clean, not for appearance, but because order is a shield against mental clutter. You wake up early, not because someone told you to, but because those hours before the world wakes are where clarity and discipline are forged. You train your body, not for shallow validation, but because strength in the body reinforces strength in the mind. Every decision you make becomes a statement. My life is mine to protect. And here's the thing. You will lose people when you start doing this. Friends will think you've changed. Family might call you distant. Women who once had unlimited access to your time and emotions will feel frustrated. Let them. Their discomfort is simply the sound of your boundaries solidifying. You're no longer a man who is constantly available, constantly giving, constantly drained. You're the man who values his mental state above all else, because you understand that peace is the foundation of everything. Your health, your confidence, your relationships, your success. When a man guards his peace, he becomes untouchable. He no longer takes the bait when someone tries to provoke him. He no longer chases after validation that costs him his dignity. He no longer needs to explain why he's not showing up for chaos. And that's the kind of man a woman can't help but respect, because she knows that if you can't be moved by distraction, you can't be broken by pressure. And that, in the modern world, is rare. Boundary number 3, don't share too much. Mystery is one of the most powerful forms of leverage a man can have in a relationship, and most men throw it away without realizing it. From the moment they feel a connection, they open the floodgates, telling her every detail about their past, their struggles, their fears, their insecurities. They believe this will make her feel closer, but in reality, it removes the very tension and intrigue that fuels attraction. A woman doesn't fall in love with the man she fully understands from the start. She falls for the man whose depth she can sense, but not immediately reach. When you overshare, you shift the dynamic in ways you don't see. Instead of being the man she's drawn to for strength and stability, you risk becoming her project, something to fix, to manage, to comfort. And no matter how compassionate she is, that role changes how she sees you. She may still care about you, but the polarity, the spark that drew her in, begins to fade. Desire needs mystery. The moment you put your entire emotional world in her hands, you take away the chase, the curiosity, the need to lean in and learn more. This doesn't mean you become a closed book or a cold wall. It means you master the art of strategic vulnerability, sharing what's necessary, but never unloading so much that it dilutes your strength. You can be open about challenges, but you frame them with solutions, not helplessness. You can talk about your dreams, but you don't drown her in every fear that comes with them. You allow her to discover you slowly, like turning the page of a book she can't put down. Look at the men who command the most respect in any room. They don't speak endlessly about themselves. They give glimpses, not confessions. They reveal enough to spark curiosity, not enough to remove it. They understand that silence, when used intentionally, is not emptiness, it's gravity. It pulls people toward you. When you make her work for access to your inner world, she values it more. When you let her experience the process of earning your trust, she feels that the connection has weight. The truth is, you can't connect deeply with someone who has no space left for you to step into. Oversharing fills that space too quickly. The early days of a relationship should feel like exploration, not an emotional dump. And even in long-term relationships, maintaining a level of mystery keeps the dynamic alive. When you manage what you share, and when you share it, you aren't hiding. You're preserving the attraction and respect that brought you together in the first place. A woman respects a man who can carry his own emotions without spilling them on everyone around him. She respects the man who can be open without being dependent, vulnerable without being unstable. If you want to hold her respect, you must remain a source of strength, not a source of constant emotional need. Because when a woman feels she can lean on you without having to carry you, that's when her respect and her attraction becomes unshakable. Boundary number 4. No emotional reactivity. Control is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. A man who can be provoked into an instant reaction is a man who has surrendered control over his own life. And whether she realizes it consciously or not, a woman will test this. Sometimes it's a shift in her tone, a sarcastic remark, a sudden withdrawal of attention, or a loaded question. None of these moments are random. They are opportunities to see if your mood and behavior can be swayed at will. If you flinch, raise your voice, or rush to defend yourself, you've shown her that your emotional state depends on external forces. A man who is ruled by reactivity is easy to read, easy to manipulate, and ultimately easy to lose respect for. But a man who can stand in the middle of emotional storms without being moved sends a completely different message. It tells her you are grounded. It tells her you are stable. It tells her you are not at the mercy of her moods or anyone else's. This is not about being cold or detached. It's about being sovereign over your own inner world. The man who owns his emotions can choose his responses, and that choice is where his power lies. The key to this boundary is self-awareness. You must learn to recognize your triggers before they control you. Notice the moments when you feel that rush to explain, defend, or retaliate. Instead of obeying that impulse, you pause, you observe it, You let the tension hang without rushing to fill the silence. This space between stimulus and response is where respect is built, is where a woman realizes you cannot be pulled into chaos because chaos requires a participant, and you refuse to participate. When you live this way, people react to you differently. Those who once thrived on pushing your buttons will grow frustrated and eventually stop trying. Those who respect strength will be drawn closer because true calm is magnetic. You'll find that you talk less, move slower, and choose your words with precision. You won't chase arguments to protect your ego because you'll understand that your energy is worth more than winning a point. You'll walk away from petty conflict, not because you're weak, but because you see it for what it is: noise. A woman respects a man who cannot be easily moved. She feels safe with him, not because he shields her from every problem, but because he can face problems without losing himself. And when she knows that your emotions are yours alone to command, she will trust you more deeply than she's trusted any man before. Stability in the modern world is rare, and the man who possesses it will always stand apart. Boundary number 5, always be willing to walk away. One of the most powerful positions a man can hold in life is the ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves him, without hesitation, without begging, and without second-guessing himself. Most men will never know that kind of power, because most men stay too long. They stay in jobs that drain their spirit, in relationships that erode their self-respect, and in friendships that disrespect their time and energy. They convince themselves it's not that bad, that they can work through it, or that patience will fix everything. But under those excuses lies the real reason. They're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of what people will say. And that fear is exactly what strips away their dignity. When you are willing to walk away, you instantly change the dynamic. You send a message not only to others, but to yourself. You're saying that your self-worth is not up for negotiation. You're saying that your peace, your values, and your future are more important than comfort, familiarity, or temporary affection. Women feel this on a deep, instinctive level. They know when a man is staying because he fears losing her, versus when he's staying because she's earned her place in his life. The first type of man gets tested constantly because she knows his fear will keep him in place. The second type, the man who stays only when it's right, gets respect without asking for it, because she knows he can and will walk away if the line is crossed. This boundary isn't about being heartless. It's about being loyal to yourself before you are loyal to anyone else. That kind of loyalty forces everything around you to rise to your level. People know they can't get away with giving you the bare minimum because you won't stay for it. This filters your life in the most powerful way possible. Over time, only those who truly respect and value you will remain. The rest will exit, and their absence is not a loss, it's a victory. The most important growth often happens after you walk away. At first, you may feel the pull of what you left behind. You may question your decision, but as time passes, you start to see clearly. You gain strength you didn't know you had. You start focusing on your mission, your body, your skills, and your purpose. You begin to realize that what you thought you couldn't live without was actually holding you back. You no longer feel desperate for approval or validation because you've proven to yourself that you can stand alone. And here's the irony. When you no longer need to stay, that's when the world begins to meet you differently. Women sense it. Opportunities find you. People treat you with a different level of respect because they know you will not cling to anything that insults your standards. You become the man who doesn't chase comfort at the cost of self-respect. You walk through life with quiet certainty, knowing that if something threatens your peace or your mission, you can drop it and never look back. That is the kind of man who commands respect, not because he demands it with words, but because every decision, every action, every boundary says, I know my worth, and nothing comes before it. Boundary number 6, never neglect your mission. A man without a mission is a man without an anchor. He drifts, pulled by the opinions of others, swayed by temporary feelings, distracted by every shiny object that crosses his path. And here's the reality most men don't want to face. The moment a woman senses that she has become your purpose, she will eventually lose respect for you. It's not because she doesn't want your attention. It's because deep down, she wants to know that your life has direction beyond her. A woman feels safest and most attracted to a man who is moving towards something greater than both of them. Your mission is the foundation of your masculine presence. It's the work, the calling, the pursuit that you would follow, even if there were no applause, no validation, and no guarantee of success. It's a thing that shapes you, disciplines you, and forces you to grow. Without it, you become reactive instead of intentional. You spend your days chasing pleasure, comfort, or distraction. And in that state, you lose the edge that makes a woman see you as a man she should respect and follow. When you neglect your mission, you start bending your life around her schedule, her moods, her plans. At first, she may like the attention, but over time, she will begin to feel the shift. She'll feel that you've abandoned the very drive that drew her to you. And here's the harsh truth. When you lose yourself in her, she will start pulling away from you. Not because she wants someone else, but because she no longer sees you as the man she first admired. This doesn't mean ignoring her or making her feel like she's unimportant. It means keeping the hierarchy of your life clear. Your mission comes first. The relationship grows within the structure that your mission provides, not the other way around. This is why women are drawn to men who are deeply committed to something. Whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, or transforming their body, they respect men who are so locked in that no distraction, no temptation, no emotional storm can pull them off course. When you live this way, everything changes. You stop seeking her approval because your sense of worth comes from progress toward your mission, not from her reactions. You become less needy, less reactive, and more focused. And she feels that. She sees that your attention is valuable because it is shared selectively after you've handled the work that defines you. Your presence becomes magnetic because you're a man with purpose. And purpose is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. A woman may love you for who you are, but she will respect you for what you are building. And if you want to hold her respect for the long term, you can never let your mission be replaced by her. You must always be moving forward, always sharpening your skills, always building the life you were meant to live. Because the moment you give up your mission, you give up the very thing that makes you worth following. Boundary number 7, never compromise your standards. Your standards are the blueprint for how the world treats you. They dictate what you accept, what you reject, and what you walk away from without hesitation. A man's standards are not just about what he wants. They are about what he refuses to tolerate. The moment you start bending them to make someone else comfortable, you are telling them that your values are flexible, your boundaries are negotiable, and your word has no weight. And once that perception is in place, respect begins to erode. A woman may be drawn to your confidence, your discipline, or your ambition, but none of those traits will matter if she sees you abandoning your principles the moment they're tested. She needs to know that your yes means yes, and your no means no. She needs to see that you will walk away from situations, people, and even opportunities if they require you to betray your own code. This doesn't make you difficult. It makes you trustworthy. Because if you can't be bought, persuaded, or manipulated into lowering your standards, she knows exactly where she stands with you. Compromising your standards rarely happens all at once. It starts small, accepting a little disrespect here, letting a broken promise slide there, agreeing to things you know go against your values just to avoid conflict. Each time, you tell yourself, it's not a big deal, but over time, these small compromises reshape how others see you. They start to believe they can push further, take more, and give less because you've trained them to think you won't enforce your own rules. When you hold your standards firm, everything in your life begins to filter itself. The wrong people will leave, the wrong situations will dissolve, and what remains will align with the man you truly are. You will attract higher quality relationships, stronger opportunities, and deeper respect, not just from women, but from everyone you deal with. And the best part? You'll respect yourself more, because you'll know you never had to shrink to fit into anyone else's world. You built your own and invited others to rise to it. The man who lives by his standards doesn't need to demand respect. He radiates it. He doesn't need to threaten to walk away. Everyone already knows he will if the line is crossed. In a world where so many are willing to compromise just to be accepted, the man who refuses to bend becomes rare, powerful, and unforgettable. If you live by these 7 boundaries, something profound will happen. You'll stop asking for respect, and you'll start commanding it. You won't need to prove yourself, chase validation, or win people over. Your presence will speak before you do. People will feel it in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you carry yourself. Some will admire you, some will resent you, but none will forget you. And here's the truth that most men never learn. You don't become respected by pleasing everyone. You become respected by making it clear who you are, what you stand for, and what you will never allow. That clarity will push away the wrong people, but it will also pull in the right ones. The ones who value your time, honor your presence, and rise to meet your standards. The world will test you. Women will test you. Life will test you. And in those moments, you'll face a choice. Bend to make things easier in the moment, or stand firm and build a life that can't be shaken. That choice will define not just your relationships, but your entire future. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.